Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, Game Over Vancouver. My name is Mark, and welcome to today's post-game show. The Canucks played against the Capitals today on the Saturday night, and I'll say I today because it's a solo show. I'll be recapping the game with you guys tonight, because what better way to celebrate a Sunday night than by talking about the Canucks? Sorry, Saturday night. What better way to celebrate a Canucks win on Saturday night than by talking about the Canucks even more? Before we get started with the show today, I want to give a quick shout out to Hyperdrive Hockey. Check out the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel, Hyperdrive Hockey. Whatever and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. Hello, Elfrin. Hello, Mr. Wilkins. Welcome to the stream. Elfrin says, and Ovi is still yet to be Langdon 2-1. Let's freaking go. Hello, Mr. Wilkins. Today was a great game from the Vancouver Canuck. The Canuck in... terms of what I'm implying is Quinn Hughes. Obviously, the entire team was pretty decent. There were some ups and downs still, even though it did result in a regulation home win. So I'll be a bit lighter on the team just because of the fact that we haven't... personally, I haven't hosted a game where we won in, I think, 6 games, so it feels good. It feels good to actually go into the show in a good mood. Alfred says, Huggy with the 2 goals and literally carrying the team on his shoulders tonight. And honestly, that's the main thing that I want to talk about today. If Quinn Hughes is not contending for the Hart Trophy, then the entire voting process is rigged. Just going from his first goal, I will say Höglander did a great job with keeping the puck against Van Riemsdyk. But man, Quinn Hughes is, if you were playing NHL 25 and you had all of the sliders up so that a player would be overpowered, that's literally how it looks like when he plays. He looks like he is the coach on a junior A hockey team looking to warm up his legs before he plays his beer league. Like, he looks so good, not only on the offensive end, but as well as the defensive end today. His ability to skate the blue line, his ability to really utilize his elite edges in his play to make space. And his first backhand goal, amazing. Chef's kiss. No one could ever... He does it so fast in the sense that you don't know that the shot is going to have that much power and accuracy until it is at the back of the net. And the second wrister as well, he sniped that wrist shot in the tiniest of spaces to get it top right corner. And I was watching this game with little to no expectations, considering the fact that Washington is the best team in the league right now, and it's such an anomaly to me that we play this well. Like, just like Mr. Wilkins says, they looked and played like an actual team. We only ever see this if the Canucks are playing against a good team like Washington. Like, we'll get stinkers like the game against Buffalo, unfortunately. But this team was playing with hearts. It's something that I haven't seen in a while. They were playing, to be fair, Capitals were also playing pretty confident as well, in respect to their offensive game, especially in the third period when they were trying to catch up. But considering that the Canucks didn't give up and try to park the bus, considering the fact that so many of... I'm going to quickly shout out Höglander, because Höglander was doing a great job tonight trying to stay in the forward core in forechecking. That man was playing like a rat. He was in my opinion, indistinguishable from Connor Garland whenever he plays around the boards. So I thought he was great. I will say, in terms of effort, I did see quite a bit of effort from JT Miller, even though on the score sheet he wasn't able to. I believe, actually, let me pull up the Canucks box score one more time. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, even though JT Miller didn't show up on the box score, he was putting his body on the line in order to guarantee a win, which was demonstrated in the, I believe, last 3 minutes of the game, where he made a very clutch block. He put his body on the line and was able to possibly save the game from that one block. Another Canuck that was playing amazing today was Kevin Lankinen, and oh man, if you asked any Canucks fan who our best signing would be in the offseason, I doubt there would be anyone that would mention Kevin Lankinen's name. He has been such a rock, and I'd say the most consistent player on our team, aside from Quinn Hughes. Like, sure, he'll have some stinkers. All goalies will have stinkers, but his composure tonight was amazing. Like, sure, like a lot of his saves did result in scrambles, but in the fact that he's able to get back onto his feet, get back in position, drop in the butterfly while still managing the chaos around him, especially in that first period with the amount of times that net was open. But man, I was just going to say, what would the season look like without Lankinen? And it hurts. I will say, it hurts to see Demko play like how he is right now. The fact that he was coming off of a Vezina Trophy possible win, to how he's been playing right now, it's been kind of rough. But honestly, the fact that we have Lankinen to cover both Demko and possibly Seelovs, because without Lankinen, then Seelovs would still be in the lineup right now, possibly backing up, possibly starting as well. But his composure tonight has been amazing. I loved it. That being said, one thing that does need to be brought up, and I'll bring it up now instead of waiting until the end of the stream, is that everyone knows that Kevin Lankinen is on a really cheap contract, and he's on a 1-year deal. And people also do know that Demko's contract is also expiring soon. I don't believe it's not this year, but I believe it's... Actually, let me look up the stats before I say anything. I believe it's either next season or the season after. It's next season. So, the season after. So 2026, 2027. Is when Demko's contract is done. And I think at this point, you need to seriously talk about extending Lankinen. And sure, it's gonna hurt contract wise. There is a slight possibility that we might need to trade Demko, which that also would hurt. It would also sting, considering the, I guess, the implications of trading away another former Canuck draft pick. But he's just been so much more consistent in net compared to Demko, and I think without him, we would for sure be a lottery team. We would for sure be bot 10. Especially in the Pacific, we would be at least treading towards around the same area where San Jose is on the bottom. But yeah, man, I'm thankful that we have this guy on our team. To quickly talk about the depth players though, just because I think if we talk about the top six forwards at least, it's the same old. You have like JT Miller today played with a lot of heart. PD, at least like forward PD, he was doing a lot of plays back checking, but didn't really contribute too much on the offensive end. There were a lot of times where I felt like he could have shot it again, but decided to pass, which is basically the entire season. But the bot six was kind of rough today. Aside from a few players, like I did like Phil DiGiuseppe today. I kind of see why Tocchet likes him in the fact that he doesn't have the skill to be a top six forward, but as a checking forward playing in a specific structure where your only real job is to get it past the neutral zone and to forecheck hard, he does it pretty well. He almost got a goal on Charlie Lindgren if it wasn't for that amazing save that he did to possibly save that game. Like, honestly, when Charlie Lindgren made that diving save, where he was basically making a baseball save right into his glove, I genuinely thought the Capitals were going to score purely off of momentum. Thankfully, he did not, and we won the game. So I will choose to look past that good save. But from the rest of the bot six, it was kind of rough. I'll be honest, like, Linus Carlson to me is nothing more than an AHL top six. I don't think he has the grit to be a bot six forward, nor do I think that he has the skill to be a top six forward on the team. Like, sure, he's Swedish. Put him beside PD and you might get another Swedish connection. But I think he just needs to get set down. Like, the whole point of us signing DeBrusque over the summer was to give him a genuine top six forward. And if we're gonna keep bagging on PD's offensive game and his offensive outputs, we can't keep giving him AHL players to play on his line. I will also say Danton Heinen was somewhat poor today too. It was a lot of low IQ plays that were kind of small and in reality didn't make, like, his mix-ups today weren't necessarily game changers. Like, it didn't result in the goal, but it did feel very sloppy, I will say. To talk about the last player tonight that played for the Canucks, I wanted to quickly shout out the Game Over Network once again, but to specifically call out the Game Over Network Patreon. So if you guys are looking for ways to help an upstart media company employing over 30 young journalists and analysts across Canada, if you have a few spare bucks kicking around, please head to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thegameovernetwork. There you will find multiple tiers featuring different rewards and goodies for helping us grow. There will be extra access, exclusive looks behind the scenes as we navigate starting up a new business in Canada, Discord benefits, merch discounts, and opportunities to give us feedback. And if you want to join us for some special shows that we have down the line, that is something that you may also have the opportunity for through our Patreon. If you are not able to support us with a few dollars, that's perfectly fine. We do have a free tier available, so you do not miss out. If you really want to help us, make sure to click like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Rate us 5 stars on your favorite podcast app, as well as to share our shows on your social media of choice. Just to quickly go into chats. Alfred says, Demko doesn't look like Demko. Sure, he's coming off an injury, but don't be fooled with his injury has the only plague that's affecting his game. He's playing under the new goalie coach with different habits. The defense in front of him is just leaving him to dry, as well as Demko isn't playing well. Honestly, that second comment is pretty key. I'll say, I think the I was going to say spices drama, but like I guess in terms of the bad things that happened in the off season, it was Ian Clarke moving on from his head coach, goalie head coach position. Um, a lot of people attributed Seelov's play in the playoffs to how well Ian Clarke teaches the young goalies in the system to play. And I'm not too sure what he's doing right now. I believe he he's either still with the Canucks, just in more of a back office position, or looking for other positions at other teams. But I do agree that the switch with goalie coaches did make a big difference. That being said, anytime it's a knee injury for goalies, it's kind of your career is kind of already going downhill at that point, especially since most goalies nowadays aren't even like hybrid goalies, they're just pure butterfly goalies. The awkwardness of your knees, where like if how do I explain this? If your knees are like this, you essentially have to go down very awkwardly just so your pads can cover up a lot of the net. It's a lot of strain on your knees, especially if you're purely just in like a waiting position. So I think I want as much as I would love to, I guess, talk bad about Demko's game. I do think because of the fact he's coming off of an injury for he was gone for like 5-6 months, maybe longer. I don't know if like he's not fully healthy. I will attribute his game to his health, but I don't think that there's anything else other than that. I think Demko's mental should still be okay for a 1A 1B situation, but I do think Lankinen is slowly taking over the starting position for the Canucks. But yeah, in terms of the last player I did want to talk about, it's DPD. I'll be honest, I was really confused when John Shorthouse was talking about the Pedersons, because he would say Elias and Elias Pedersen, when in reality both of them don't really care about how their names are pronounced. So because of that, I would hear Shorty say Elias Pedersen is bringing up the puck into the neutral zone as an example, but DPD. But I already like him. I was talking on the show a few episodes ago that he did seem very green to me, but I think his IQ is there to the point where even if like he's not going to be like Noel Jolson, who he has the potential to be a pretty decent top 6 defender, but his IQ isn't there, and he will leave his position just to finish a hit. DPD's IQ, I think, is already there. His what's it called? First 10 minutes of the game, I saw him make a defensive zone pass into a defensive zone stretch pass, not hitting the boards, straight to a forward, and it resulted in an offensive chance. And immediately I'm like, this is exactly what we needed. This is something that Carson Soucy can't do. This is something that Tyler Myers tries to do, and will fail 9 out of 10 times. Something that Noel Jolson, Vinny Desharnais, these guys can't do that. He was playing really well under pressure too, and considering the fact that obviously he's playing with limited minutes and he has the opportunity to play on the first team because of the fact that Tyler Myers is out, I think we should keep playing him, and just to see what he'll be like. Because at the end of the day, to have a defenseman with a big body, so someone not like Brandstrom, because Tasha hates small defensemen, with the IQ that he has, and as well as the fact that he's able to play under pressure, I think we keep him in the lineup until he gets a stinker of a game, and then we can send him back, which in reality is fine because he's on a 2-way contract anyways. So the more that he can prove himself on this first team, the better. And I liked what I saw from him tonight, for sure. But yeah, what did you guys think about DPD's game? If you guys had anything, if you guys did, leave them in our chat, and I will do my best to get to them. But one thing I will say too is I did find it funny how the fact that not only did the Canucks draft another Elias Patterson, but if he works out to be a decent top six forward, like a decent third pairing defenseman at least, I think that's already a draft steal. He was drafted in the 3rd round. Let me actually pull up the stats. When he was drafted. Last person. Yeah, 3rd round, 80th overall. And considering the amount of players that don't even make it to the NHL, I think he definitely has the potential to make it. I'm not going to bag on his game too much because he's 20 years old and he has so much more time to grow his game. Like Bieksa didn't even make it until he was like in his mid-20s. So the fact that we're able to talk about his game now, and the fact that he didn't look, just like Mr. Wilkham said, the fact that he looked all right and not out of place. If you look at our defense right now, that is fine. I think, sure, that's the bare minimum for other teams, but for us, that might already be exceeding expectations. So I am all for the DPD bandwagon. I hope he stays. It's interesting though, because if you look at the defensive core in Abbotsford, there's like I'll see a few games here and there, mainly highlights, but a lot of the times like I'll see the defensive core in Abbey, and if you remove Quinn Hughes from our lineup and made them play a scrimmage with the 2 defensive cores, I wouldn't see that much of a difference. Just because you would have like DPD, and then you'd technically have Brandstrom on the Abbotsford team too. But I like what they're doing in Ivy. That's all I really wanted to bring up for that. Just to quickly go into our 3rd segment. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, you probably do want more of this. Make sure you hit that like button on this video and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you check the notification bell as well so you are alerted when we go live. If you are listening to this episode on your favorite podcast platform, please give us a 5-star rating or even write us a positive review. So in terms of our 3rd period today, it's not really Canucks news, but I think it does directly relate to what we've been doing, which is hoping and praying for trades. So if you are not aware, Mikko Rantanen has been traded to the Carolina Hurricanes from Colorado. So just to, I guess, quickly recap that trade, the Hurricanes acquired 28-year-old Mikko Rantanen and Taylor Hall in the major 3-team trade involving the Colorado Avalanche and Chicago Blackhawks. Rantanen, in the final year of a 6-year, $55.5 million contract, brings elite skill and playoff experience to Carolina. Hall also in this contract year does add a lot of offensive depth, which is funny to see. Like former 1st overall Taylor Hall just thrown like in a trade being seen as a filler. But yeah, so Colorado receives Martin Necas, Jack Jury, and draft picks, while Chicago essentially is going to pay 50% of Rantanen's current salary this year and gets a third round pick for free. The Hurricanes get really scary, but thankfully I don't have to see Mikko Rantanen again when the next time we play Colorado. But the reason why I bring this trade up is because I believe it was Elliot Friedman. Let me see if I could quickly find his tweets. If not, then that's okay. But I believe Elliot Friedman did mention that in terms of potential trades that Carolina was looking at, it was either Colorado with Rantanen or Elias Pettersson. And I think, for one, it kind of proves the point that the Canucks aren't confident in either JT Miller or Pettersson. I think at this point it's kind of tough to, like, I'm in the boat. Me personally, I can't speak for the other hosts of Game Over Vancouver, but me personally, I don't want to trade any of them. I think the only trade that we could possibly do is, at least right now, is Demko, which also sucks to say. It's either Demko or Besser, just so we could trade Besser to a contender and then possibly get picks that we could flip. But it kind of goes to show that the Canucks right now are they're being really active in terms of looking for trades. And I think in terms of, as much as you could talk bad about the way that the Canucks communicate things, the one thing that doesn't really come out too much from the front office is trade talks. So, what's it called? Obviously, if you were to choose between PD with his 11.6 mil contract, and a 5-ish mil contract from Rantanen, if you're looking to win now, that is 100% the trade that you're gonna get. And if you trade a PD to that Carolina team, I don't think that there's a trade that would make either team happy, considering the fact that the Hurricanes are gonna have to. They're most likely gonna ask us to retain money if we took that trade. So thankfully, PD is still a Canuck. That being said, at this point, it does kind of, the teams that we could possibly trade either JT Miller or PD to is very small at this point. It's basically just the Rangers. And I'll be honest, I don't really like any of the trade offers that I've been seeing in terms of rumors. But to go to my earlier point about, in terms of rumors that come out, I'm pretty sure none of them come from Vancouver. I think all of the rumors are coming from the Rangers front office or the, I believe Buffalo was interested in PD. So, but I doubt that also came from the Canucks. I'm pretty sure that would have came from the Buffalo front office in terms of who leaked it. But I think at this point, I kind of want to just let this team ride it out. Although, if you look at this core and you look at how many coaches we've been through with this core, like, if we fire Tocchet and hire another coach, as much as I would be perfectly alright with us firing Tocchet, I don't think it makes sense in terms of a core. And yeah, okay, so Alfred says, but you have to be very careful that you don't just trade just for the sake of a trade. It has to make sense and has to benefit the Canucks long term rather than making panic trades for short term. Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to say. So thank you for articulating it so well. I don't want them to make a trade just so we could be like, oh, we traded JT Miller, now PD's gonna play well, because the amount of pressure that has on you, I mean, granted, they're probably going through so much pressure right now from media and from the team just to perform. But I completely agree. I hope that if we do a trade, it's not as big as what we would have expected. Like if we trade like a bot 6 forward for someone for a depth, I would be perfectly okay with that. If we offloaded some draft picks so we could possibly win next year, I'd also be okay with that. But I just, as much as like it's fun to look at trades, I want to keep this team as is. Leave it until the end of the season though. Like if we don't, obviously if we don't make it to the playoffs, then I'd be okay with letting go of the core and starting new. Especially since let's see when's okay. So 2020 the 2028 season is when Quinn Hughes' contract is up. So in my eyes, we have until then. We have until then to win the Stanley Cup. If we don't win then not only would we have wasted prime years of Quinn Hughes' career, but we'd also most likely have to pay him double. Like I don't see a world where Quinn Hughes gets paid less than 12 mil a year. And sure, salary caps are going to be going up, but that also means that the salary cap is going to be going up for the rest of the league, which means that they will also have money to possibly match his contract, and he'll be a UFA. So if we don't extend him, then he might go for free. So the reason why like I'm so weary of making trades is the fact that one trade, excuse my language, but one trade will fuck this team up. And we've gone through so much as Canucks fans. We've gone through so much as Canucks fans to see another possible Stanley Cup window close. And I still think I still think that there is still a chance that we make it at least past the first round in the playoffs if our mental just gets fixed. But at the end of the day, I'm putting my full trust in the Vancouver Canucks front office. And I think at that point, Mr. Wilkins says it's been a strange season. It's been a really weird season for sure. Very strange. On paper, we shouldn't be losing, but we have about 37, 38 more games to go in the season. I think that, and this is me being hopeful, I think that there is still that possibility that our mental just flips and we become a winning team again. But actually here, and would Hughes be interested in staying in Vancouver while developing the new core of this team? It would not be fair for Hughes, knowing that he is a competitive player and wants to contend. That's the thing. I know Quinn Hughes wants to win, and if anything, actually, let's switch this to the overtime period, just so we could just talk about anything Canucks, with any questions that you guys have. But I don't think he would stay. As much as it pains me to say it, if we're forced to rebuild the team again, I don't see Quinn Hughes leading the tank. I like. I will say I also don't think he'd go to New Jersey, just because, as nice as, what's it called? As nice as it would be to see a 3 Hughes team, I think as, like, knowing that he's the oldest of 2 brothers and he's played hockey with them his entire life, I think he would enjoy the time away from them. That being said, that's why, like, if we are going to be in the win now position, it has to be now. And if Quinn Hughes is not top 3 in Hart voting, then I will go on like the next post game show that we do after that will be a full on rant as to how rigged the voting is. Mr. Wilkins says the front office sure does let things go on way too long. like the Bujo thing and all of the drama this season. I think that is obviously the one part where actually not even the one part. That's the main part as to why you should be critical of the Vancouver Canucks front office. Like the only thing that I will praise them for is the fact that they won't let too much stuff leak. But because of the fact that they try to keep things within a closed door, a lot of the times it feels like they're not being transparent, and we have to start guessing in terms of what's happening. Like if you guys see all of the tweets that the Canucks will pull out, where two-way players will be sent down to Abbotsford and then called back up the day after. Like it took I mean, granted, it took a few days for us to figure out what was happening in terms of trying to accue Cap. But it's little things like that where it's not really explained to the general public. You just have to know. But stuff like that, stuff like obviously the Bujo thing, stuff like the JT Miller and PD thing, it does get drawn out so long to the point where we're still talking about it. I think that came out 2 months ago, no? But yes, I do agree that the front office does let things go on for pretty long. But yeah, other than that, I just wanted to say, just to keep this episode short because it is Saturday nights, and I hope that you guys are able to at least enjoy this weekend night as well. I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you once again for sticking by to our Game Over Vancouver post shows. The next show that we will be hosting on Game Over Vancouver, it'll be hosted by Kaja on Monday against the St. Louis Blues. So as soon as that game is over, meet us at this channel right after the game is ended for some more post-game coverage. My name is Sianquita. Thank you guys for coming again, and I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.